All right, I am saying goodbye to the Mustang. This is a 65. I went all through it, and I'll just show you a couple of things. Now, when I got this, I guess it came back from the body shop or whatever, but they had sheet metal screws in here that weren't even holding it in place. So I got some stainless button heads or carriage bolts, and I put those in and got the right gasket seal. The cap right here, this cap had a leather seal, and what I did was I have a big roll of that rubber that's oil and fuel resistant, and what I did was I cut a circle of it, and I made the inside smaller than what it needed to be, so it kind of coned it out a little bit. And now when you put it on, it doesn't rattle, and it's a little bit tight, but I'd rather it be tight than have it rattle. I did put screws in either end of the pipe. There's a stainless steel gas tank, and all the fuel is stainless steel. And I'm making this video just for kind of like my records. But anyways, I'm going to try and make this fast because I'm running out of memory in my phone. But anyways, this fuel filter here, there's a small piece of hose here. The whole fuel system's been replaced. This is all stainless. And when you get this filter, it'll come with these little sections of hose, so you don't have to worry about them ever dry rotting or cracking. The number stamped on here. All the receipts are with the car. What else did I do? Oh, yeah, got those. All these are carriage bolts, stainless clamps. All that secured. Put all new brakes. The drums I didn't need to replace, so I just, I reused those. It's got new shoes, new hardware. The rear end has been rebearinged. It has been cleaned, flushed. It has a new pinion, a crush pinion in it, a crush sleeve, universal joints. It has two different sizes of joints. But anyways, no more leaks. Everything's been sealed up. I got about 50 miles on it so far. I'm just going to go over the whole car and retighten up everything. And that's another thing. When you have a car part like this, you want to retighten everything, make sure everything's good and secure. This seal is leaking a little, but however, I know the reason why that's leaking. The bushing inside the tail shaft is actually worn, so a little bit of leakage is kind of what it is right now, kind of the nature of the beast. I don't know if he wants me to rebuild the transmission or not, but universal joint's been replaced. That seal was knocked in crooked when I got the car, so it was leaking all over the place. And the rear end had an original kind of rope seal to it, so that has a lip seal now. The transmission has been adjusted and filled. The detent is adjusted. You really can't see. Hold on. All right, let's try this again. Jacked up the front end, like my jack stand there. It works. It works. The weight of the car is on that, and I just have this in, for safety, right? Safety. Anyways, I should get a headlamp here. Now that's a headlamp. See? These were like 10 bucks each. They work for a good 10 minutes, then they kind of taper off. Alright, so. See, that's why you go over this stuff. Look at that. And you know what? I remember seeing this when it came in. Okay. And it just reminded me of it. I'm gonna have to get that tied over. Wow. Yep, I have to deal with that. But detent is adjusted. I know it's frayed a little bit, but when you give it full throttle, the kickdown does engage well. So it's kind of going around here. The drain plug. Drain plug for the block is right in there. Okay. And then on the back, it is right there. It's all been flushed and cleaned. It's got new calipers. Those are Granada calipers, Granada pads, and Mustang rotors. I'm sorry, that's Mustang 2 Pinto calipers and Granada pads. The Granada calipers are just a touch bigger, and they have a different size brake hose. New brake hoses. I got the adapters for the lines, and that's all been converted before I touched it. And he bought the Mustang and wanted me to go through it, and I really didn't know what it had, so I had to go back and forth through the auto parts store trying to figure out what he had, and it ended up to be Granada. So first gen Granada. He's got the cross drilled and slotted rotors, got new caps, bearings, races. Everything's been lubed up pretty good. Everything works good. The whole brake fluid has been flushed. And he had silver paint here, and I took the silver paint off because I know that these are stainless, and it polished up really nice. It really did. It had the inlay here where like a silver. It didn't do it any justice. As soon as I got rid of that, it really made the front grille here pop. So I'm glad that I did that. Let me get the hood open here. All right, so what we have here is, now he had an electric fan. Okay, it was a 14-inch electric fan and a 4-core brass copper radiator. I got a replacement radiator, aluminum. I got 3-row, and that wasn't doing the job, so I upgraded to a Torino radiator, which is a 67, 70 Torino radiator. I had to cut open the core support, and I had an electric fan on here. And I'm against electric fans. Whenever you have like an old engine like this, cast iron heads, unless you have like a factory setup of electric fans with an infinite control relay, just get a manual fan. Do yourself the favor and get rid of that headache of, possibly electric fan going bad or it getting wet and shorting out or the fuse popping. This way, it's right to the engine. As long as the engine's running, it's getting fresh air, it's circulating through the radiator. I put the clutch fan on it. That is a Darrell, or however you pronounce it, fan blade. And just one belt drives it, no squeaks. New fuel pump. Had to rebend the line. I put the little overflow right there. This was mounted sideways and the wires were kind of discombobulated. I just kind of moved that down and out of the way, tucked the wires in as best I could. Now, going from the electric fan to this fan, I had to kind of undo what I did. I had to move the radiator down another inch. So now it's sitting on the frame, and I have a piece of rubber in between the radiator and the frame that makes sure that, that isn't, a metal against metal and rubbing. But yeah, I did that, and it does have one electric fan, and that's for backup. It only comes on if it's over 195 degrees, and that's hooked to, well, this is the altimeter gauge, and that sensor was here with the dual fan setup. But I got a thermostat, an aftermarket thermostat housing, and I just hooked up the single push fan that's in front of the radiator to this. That's all stainless steel band clamps, silicone hoses. I had to make the mount of the aluminum brackets right there, top and bottom. The aluminum strip is riveted to the bottom there, and those are strong rivets. Those aren't your run-of-the-mill rivets holding that in. Those are pretty stout rivets, and it's glued. So there's that. But there's a 10-inch fan in front of it, and I got that hooked to the relay, and it's fused. New battery, hold downs. I reused the cable, the positive cable. Cleaned up the terminals. It's all charged up, ready to go. The wire that goes to the temp sender here, it's in that aluminum line, so it's protected. It ain't going to rub up against the engine block. All these hoses are secure. I had all these fittings out, everything apart. Now he did have a fuel filter hanging over right here, and it was plastic, and I got rid of that. So that is the longest piece of hose in the whole fuel system. Altogether, there's about 14-15 inches of rubber. That's it. Everything is hard line. That stainless steel line, I had to rebent. I contoured it to the engine block. That's a lot of heating and bending. It took like 2 days to get that contoured to the engine block. Being stainless steel, it was kind of hard to bend too. So it's all been timed, new hoses. The whole fuel system was actually rotted out. I mean, like crazy rotted out. That's why, we went to stainless steel. Or he went to stainless steel. But all this is hard lined. I had to drill that and tap it for the fitting. So all his fuel system has minimal tubing or minimal rubber whatsoever. Or minimal as possible, let's just say that. That's a 670 Street Avenger electric choke. It's all tuned, ready to go. You hit the gas once, and it'll fire right up, and you just kind of feather it when it wants to die out a couple, 3 times, and then it's smooth idles. And that's only if you let it sit for a couple of days. Other than that, you hit the throttle, you start it up, you let it do its thing for a minute, hit the throttle again, and it idles down. So yeah, that's all done. All in all, this was pretty fun, and I'm glad I did it. The high volume pump, the high volume water pump, you really don't need it, but it's on there. And if he just replaces it with a regular pump, that's fine. If it happens to start leaking or whatever, he has all the receipts, he has all the part numbers, he has all the contacts where I got them from. So yeah, that's that. I would love to throw a timing chain in it, but it wasn't into cards this time. So runs good. Yeah, and because of the dual fan setup, I kind of, I retapped the intake for another sensor, and now that sensor is actually running the temp gauge in the dash, and that one's running the autometer one. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, it doesn't look like I did a lot, or seemed like I did a lot, but I went through this car, I like almost a fine-tooth comb, and he wanted it ready to just putz around and have fun, and that's what he's gonna do. I had to rewire behind there. That was all pulled out when I got it. Wires, it's spaghetti up underneath there, and I got his gauges to work. I mounted the autometer there, and I mounted the autometer in such a way that no matter where you have those levers, you still have a clear view of it. And yeah, it's I think that's, I know I'm missing so many things that I've done in this car, and that's only, I know I'm just talking about the tip of the iceberg of what I did, but that's all I can remember. It's been in here for almost a year, and just been picking away at it. Let me get this open. All right, so I cleaned up the filler neck. That's a new hose right there. Pretty expensive hose. I took that from my stock that I had. There's all the stainless carriage bolts. It still has the plastic protector on it for the fuel tank. I just kept that on there for him. But yeah, I don't want to be moving all this stuff around. But yeah, I got the ground. Everything's the way it should be. Oh yeah, the wires were just flopping around in the back here. I tucked them in as neat as I could, and routed them underneath the lip here. Yeah, so you really can't see that, but trying to get good angles here. Yeah, that's his license plate light works now. His reverse lights work now. That's all tucked up in there. I mean, this I spent a lot of time on this, picking away at it here and there, and it's a really nice car. And it kind of sags a little bit in the back, and it's got that 289 kind of stock power, but it's nice. It's nice linear power. It's smooth going down the road. It's happy, it's happy just cruising down the road. And it'll doesn't matter if you're going 35, 45, all the way up to 85, 95 mile an hour cruising. It just hovers around 185, and sitting in traffic, it gets to about 190, to where it starts kicking on this fan, and then that's where it stays. And I let it overheat to, let's see, I let it overheat to, I think it was like 210, and then hurried up, put it all back together. And when I restarted it, it was still around 210. And I took it out for a cruise, and it all came down to 180, 185, 190. And so that made me happy. So I know if it does get to a overheating situation, it'll cool on its own. And yeah, that's it. That fan kicks on and off. Like I said, it's a 195 degree on there. So sorry my camera cut off there. Doing the front. I'm back up underneath, and I'm just going over all the bolts that I've done. The bottom bolts, there's about 5 of them. Those are supposed to have copper washers, and those are back on. New copper washers for that. That is 5/18 flange seal. Like I said, I don't like using gaskets whenever possible. Now this is, that line was kind of close to the exhaust, and that's, I mean, and I'll tell them about it, but that's the only thing right there. It's a little close. So that's double wrapped with heat material. All right, that's a new hose. And I know that's kind of shady, but it's a lot better than what he had, because he had nothing to protect it. So at least this way he has something there. And I think, I mean, I think that's about it. I mean, I want to, yeah, like I said, I'm going to, oh, that's one thing. His transmission mounts are kind of toast. And I don't know what he wants to do, but something tells me I'm going to have to rebuild this transmission for him. The park paw isn't parking or engaging fully, or it's either stripped. I don't know, but it'll pop out of park and grab the next notch. So something's wrong with that. I'll let him know about that. And there's Curtis. All right. So he has the rat rod, and I guess we'll be working on that. I think that's it. All right, guys. I'll catch you on the flip.